This video is going to show you a very simple method that I use for converting data into a dynamic trend line with scrolling functions. In the example I am using for this, I have selected a data log file, which has been running for a day, collecting bulk serial data from nuclear level instruments in the field. Okay, so to begin with, we will have to import our data into a workbook in Excel. For this particular type of data, we will change it from a comma delimited to a space delimited. And now we're just going to go ahead and get rid of some of the empty spaces before we import it. Okay, so let's get started building the chart on the next page over. To start with, we will type a number 1 in the top left cell. So right below this cell, we will start inputting our offset formula. The first reference value will be attached to the top value of the column which contains the data that you want to trend. And the second value will reference the top cell that we typed the number 1 in. The third value, we will put a 0, and the two remaining values after that are optional, and we will leave them empty. The section of the formula that references this top cell here, let's turn that into an absolute reference by highlighting it and pressing the F4 key. Now we're going to just repeat this offset formula for the remaining cells that we want to plot. So once we've done this a couple of times, to save a little bit of time, you can autofill the formula to the cells to the right. Now the autofill's not going to really work that well because of the inconsistencies in the data, but we can quickly edit the formula bar to represent the data that we were looking for. So we just need to go to the data import page and take note of the column names that we're looking for and then type those into the formula. So we're all done with one row, and as you noticed, this formula just basically duplicates the values from the referenced cell. So now we're going to autofill each of these formulas downward as far as you want to go for your chart. For the chart I'm building here, I think we'll do 250 cells worth of data. Okay, once we've autofilled this down, let's leave the cells highlighted and just go ahead and pick a chart that you want, and it will automatically build a chart using the highlighted data. Okay, now that our chart is built, let's go ahead and insert a scroll bar from our developer menu. If your computer does not have the developer menu option, you may have to enable that in the options. So to do this, you'll have to go to File, and then Options, and then select the customized ribbon, and then check the developer menu option. Okay, since the scroll bar is going to control the chart, let's go ahead and place it directly below. Now right-click on the bar and select Format Control. The first two values can be left at default. For the max value, go ahead and enter the number of rows of records on your import page. The next two values will determine the number of records that will be cycled when you click on the bar. And for the last one, we will establish a cell reference to that top left cell. So this is also the cell that the offset formula is referencing, which is the key to making the chart scroll. Now when we click on the scroll bar, the cell value will change with the position of the slider bar. When the number changes, the offset formulas will import new data sets. This will create the effect of a scrolling timeline. Okay, now that the bar is built, let's attach the bar to the graph by grouping them together. So I'm going to make the trend a little easier to view by changing the background and making it a little bit darker. Okay, something we forgot to do, which will make it much easier to navigate the data, is to add the timestamp column to the plot, using the exact same method that we did earlier. So let's autofill the formula one cell over, and now we will go find the location of the data containing the time, Add that to the formula and drag it downward with the autofill to cell number 250. And we will have to format the cells for a time value. Now, instead of plotting this column on the graph, we will instead reference the horizontal axis to these cells, which will allow for the axis to update with the cycling of the records. And it looks like we will have to format the horizontal axis for time as well. And there you have it. Now, when we scroll through our records, we will have an accurate timestamp for when the data was collected. And there it is, a basic trending graph in just a few minutes.